section out there.
I love you.
All right, I'm really proud of Kayden. You know, you think about coming into a new school, right? Transitioning, that's hard, right? Transitioning to middle school, that's hard. Transitioning in 8th grade into middle school, it's got to be really hard. But she's handled it really well. Really proud of her. That first, I don't know, month or so, we had some team meetings, and they were like, "Has anybody heard Kayden say anything yet?" I'm like, she didn't even say anything in advisory. I don't know. But after those first couple months, we started like getting some stuff out of you. Now, like 3rd quarter, she's really grown and blossomed. She'll give it right back to me. She'll give it right back to anybody in the advisory. And just really proud of that tremendous growth that you've had during the course of the year. I'm bummed that you didn't come earlier, but I'm glad that we got you here in the 8th grade. You've been doing really awesome. So, you ready to go?
Yes.
All right, she's had her Cheez-Its. She's ready to go. All right, sorry. Okay, come on, Kayden. Here we go, Kayden.
In my speech, I'm going to talk about the many challenges that I have had throughout my life, especially when it comes to my middle school career. And I will discuss my growth to overcome these challenges. Before I highlight my challenges and growth, I will begin with the quote. Or to write about life first, you must live it. Ernest Hemingway. I will begin discussing with my physical quote. Softball was the first sport that I ever played, and it was the one that I fell in love with. The interest I first had in the sport came from going to my cousin's high school games growing up. I still remember joining my first team at 6 and being so intimidated because I was the youngest on the team and everyone else had more experience than me. Because of this, I started to work hard to improve my performance and to be able to reach my goals. I started taking lessons outside of practice and putting in the extra work. And by doing this, putting in all this hard work and being able to see my improvement each time I played, my love for the sport grew. I think what I enjoyed most about playing was the rush and calmness you felt in between each pitch. After a few years of playing and trying every position on the field, the one that I enjoyed the most and that really stuck with me was pitching. Pitching was the one position that had always piqued my interest ever since I was younger, but it wasn't until I started playing the position myself in games and taking it more seriously that I really fell in love with it. With playing this position came even more responsibility when it came to the sport, which led to me having to take even more lessons. At one point, I was taking batting lessons and pitching lessons on top of my regular practices, which was stressful at times, but it had its benefits. My knowledge and performance when it came to sport improved, and it led to me being able to spend more time with my dad, who always supported me, whether it was buying me the equipment that I needed or setting up the lessons that I needed, and sometimes even taking me to them. He would even take me outside when he had free time just to have a bit of extra practice by hitting to the net for a while. He was there for me and supported me through every decision I had made when it came to sport, even when I decided to stop playing in 2018 because I had lost my passion for it. Because of this and many challenges and setbacks I have had, softball has impacted my life in many ways that I had never realized until I decided to stop playing. And because of this, I will always be grateful for this part of my life that I was able to live, and I'm glad I get to write about it. I had challenges I overcame to achieve growth academically. Quarantine was a hard time for me mentally and academically, especially when it would come to math. Math has been my weakest subject my whole life, and quarantine affected me negatively in math. I would still make good grades and do the work, but I didn't really learn anything. And because of this, I fell far behind from where I was supposed to be when it came to math. When the school year finally ended and it was time to start thinking about the new school year, I made the decision to start attending math gymnasium to help me catch up. I started going to math gymnasium at the beginning of the summer and would go 3 times a week, almost every week, and it helped me a lot. I was able to refresh my memory by going over the basics and completely relearning the things that I had forgotten. Even though I'm not where I would like to be in math, I'm still able to see the improvement in the work that I did over the summer. As I continue to attend math gymnasium throughout this school year and have still continued to grow in the subject, especially when it comes to my testing quizzes. These special quizzes, I have managed to average an A on almost all of my tests and quizzes I have taken in math. As I look back on this past year, I am able to see the growth and improvement I have made in math and see the growth that I still need to make. Traveling is the one thing that I love to do the most. One of the ways I get to spend time with my family and make all these fun memories with them. When traveling, I have been able to travel to many fun places like Disney World or New York, but I have also been able to do educational things like go to Washington, D.C. and take a tour of the White House. My favorite thing about traveling is being able to look back on my trip and reflect on the memories that I have made and the things that I have learned, like on my last trip when I went to the Bahamas. One of the things that we did on the trip was take a tour on the island. In the moment, I wasn't really enjoying it because it was extremely hot and I thought it was boring. But looking back on it and thinking of the things that I learned on the tour, it might be one of the highlights of the trip for me. During the tour, I was able to learn more about the Bahamas and how because they're an independent country, they have a lot of differences from the United States. Like how because of the way the healthcare system works, they're able to have free healthcare. I was also able to see famous landmarks like the Queen's Staircase and learn the stories behind them. I think as the older I get, experiences like these I'm going to be able to look back on or write about with more appreciation than I am able to now. Over this past school year, I've got x-rays and went to many physical therapy sessions because of my scoliosis. I still remember when I first found out I had it at 10 and how when the doctor left the room, I started crying because I thought I had it. It was a deadly disease and I was going to die. But when I found out what it really was and talked about it with my doctor, I found out it was just a mild case and nothing to be worried about. Over the last few years, it was something that I kind of forgot about until last year in September. My back started to hurt and I ended up crying myself to sleep that night. After this, I went to the doctor and she said it was not severe enough for surgery, so she made me an appointment with a specialist that was not available until that upcoming January. So, in order to help manage the pain until then, I started going to physical therapy, which I ended up hating every second of, but I did learn a lot when it came to helping manage the pain. Thanks to physical therapy, I was able to learn exercises to do throughout the school day if my back ever started hurting, and I learned exercises to do at home that would help me with the pain in general. Even though I don't really do them as often as I should, they still have helped me extremely when it comes to pain. Once January finally came and I went to specialists, I learned that this was just something I was going to have to live with, which is something that has been hard to come to terms with because of the fact that even though I have been getting the help that I needed, all that I could keep thinking was that none of these solutions were permanent to solve my pain. Even though I have been working on it, it still feels like I have this problem that can be fixed and I'm going to have to live the rest of my life in pain. Lastly, I would like to recognize some important people that have contributed to my growth. The first person I'm dedicating this speech to is my sister. Even though she gets on my nerves most of the time, she has played an important part in my life these last years and has made my life better. She makes me want to be a better person so I can set a good example for her, and she's probably who I consider my best friend. My parents have always been there for me, whether it was taking me to my after-school activities or taking me all over the world. They have made sure that I can have all the resources that I need to succeed in my life, and I probably would not know as much as I do now or work hard as I do now without them being there for me and always pushing me to be the best version of myself. My last dedication is from my advisor. Throughout this year, I have grown really close with the people in my advisory. Some of the best memories that I have made this year are with them between going outside and playing wiffle ball, or looking up from my phone in the morning and seeing someone getting hit in the face with a cross stick. Moments like these I would have made them the best way to start my morning. Okay, I'm done.